Welcome back, Shop Rats. Today we're back on the 86 truck, but, well, not really. We've got to make a special tool to help us remove that back glass out of the truck. Let's get after it.
This is My Cars Shop.
I know, I could buy the tool, and I did look at it, and, well, two things. I couldn't find exactly the tool that I want to remove this, and second of all, money's just really tight right now, and my philosophy is, why buy it when you can make it? Now, there's all kinds of differing opinions about how to get that glass out, and you're not necessarily going to agree with what I do, but I'm showing you what I do. That's what you're here for. You're not here to know what you already know. You're here to see something maybe that you didn't know. So I want to get after making this tool. It's a pretty simple little tool, but I thought it'd be fun to show you the process of making a special tool to remove the back glass on a Dodge pickup. So I've got a piece of 1/4-inch rod that we're going to chuck up in the lathe and turn down, and well, you'll see what we do there. So the first thing I want to do is cut this thing off at a length that's manageable. I'll make it a little longer than it needs to be, so we'll probably cut it in here somewhere. I actually have a screwdriver that's going to end up similar to this tool, but it'll be different, but it'll be similar. And I thought about making it out of this screwdriver, but I'd like something with a little more length than this. So we're going to cut it like in this ballpark here. That's probably close. So the next step in this then is we're going to go ahead and chuck this up in our lathe. Right here. Oh, we gotta change the power supply in the lathe. Then the next thing is to make sure that you get the right cutter. Now I'm not going to be doing my machining work way out here. I'm going to do it in here so that there's less deflection, and this is the proper cutter to use for the job. So we're going to literally do a two-handed turning process here. So we've got it rough turned a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and take some 80 grit, and because that was 24 grit, so I'm going to take some 80 grit now and try to make that a little bit better, smoother, whatever. And then we'll take some 180. Maybe we'll take a file. Well, the next step is going to be a little trickier, but we'll get it. I think I'm going to do a little bit more here. Needs to be just a little smaller. What ultimately I'm doing is putting a ball on the end to slip behind the rubber seal in the truck. So I need a little bit more. I think I want to turn that down just a little more, but I don't want to make it so weak that it'll break. Oops. not perfect, but it's good. It's going to do the job. It's nice and smooth. It's got a couple little gouges in it, but I'm going to settle for that's more than functional. So now we need to make a hooker. So you can see what we've been making. That's it. It's got a couple little imperfections in it, but you know what? It's going to be fine for what the tool is for. We don't need to make it flawless. We need to make it functional, as long as it doesn't tear the seal, and there's nothing on that that's going to tear the seal. So I got to decide the design that I'm doing here, so give me a second. What I ultimately want is like this to come down like this and then go around. So kind of like that, and then come back into a handle. So we need to, I think I'm going to make the loop on this first, and hopefully we can get that in a decent position. I could do this easily just by heating that up with the torch. I might be able to reach the torch over here and do that, but let's see what we can do like this first. I think that's pretty good for what I want. Now I gotta get a handle on it. I should have made this longer. It isn't thinking ahead, but that's okay. I've never made one before, but let's take you over to the truck and kind of show you what it's going to function like. We may need to weld a little piece on here, or maybe we'll weld a piece of round stock on for a handle. That might be our best option. So our whole objective with this is to be able to get it up under the seal. We'll spray some lubricant around all of that, and then we can start pushing and prying that seal out. This seal is hard as a stick. We may not be able to. I rummaged around for quite a while and decided this would be the best way to go for a handle. And what I'm going to do is drill it down in, maybe a 1/2 inch, and tap it, and then I'll put a die on that, and then we will weld it in there when we're done, so it'll have good engagement and hold well. I think that's the way I'm going to go. We may do it a little differently, but I'm going to go get my taps and dies and see what we can do. We shouldn't have any issue drilling straight down the middle of that. If it's off a little bit, so what? Then we'll just wrap this up with some nice tape and make a nice little handle. Obviously would be nice if I had a lathe and could get that exactly centered, but we'll scribe it and then we'll center punch it and get it super close before we drill it. It'll be close enough, good enough for what we're doing here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's pretty close. Could be off just a little bit. To the naked eye it looks good. In the camera it actually looks a little bit off, but I don't think it is. So we'll drill a pilot hole before we use our actual tap drill to drill that out, and we'll drill that down in.
Oh, it's about 3 or 4.
Drill that down in about 3/4 of an inch or so. Pilot holes drilled. I'm going to go ahead and go 3/16 I think before I go to the drill for the 1/4 inch. We're ready to tap it now. It's drilled out to the proper drill size. I love this little set because it has the drills and the taps all just laid out, and so I don't have to go guessing, as long as everything's in the right place, which hopefully they are, because if I screw it up I'm not going to be happy. No big deal if it is, but I'm sure it is. So we can see that it's off. Just Nova Scotia. I don't care. It's fine. Without a lathe and so forth to turn stuff in, I could have done a little bit more accurately. I thought it was, but it's going to do the job, and I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. And there we go. I should have left well enough alone. I wasn't even reefing on it that hard. I was just running the threads one more time And she snapped off. Go figure. So now we got the joy of taking that back out of there. Yay! Duddy would say it's the shark because it's failure, disappointment, and regrets. All I did was just kept flaking the top off, so I decided to just lose a 1/4 inch of my handle, run around it. So we'll get a pair of pliers now, turn that, and hopefully there'll be enough of that tap that we can turn that back out of there. This steel on that bolt is probably, it's a grade 8 bolt, so it's really hard, but I'm really surprised that it broke. Hopefully this doesn't shatter again. It did.
Dang it.
There we go. I had to cut it off and re-drill it. I finally got that last piece out. There was only about a 1/4 inch left in there. That's fine, you know, but it's nice and straight and does the job. So it's so tight, I don't think I need to worry about welding it up, so I'm not going to. And we will we'll put some cushion on that handle here in just a second. And there you go. So the reason for this versus just using a screwdriver is, first of all, it's got a hook. Second of all, screwdrivers have sharp edges that can catch glass and break glass. If you're familiar with glass at all, all it takes is a little teeny chip. When we took the glass out of the Oakland, remember, one little teeny chip and big chunks come out. And well, this is safety glass, so that would be, so we still may end up destroying it, but now we've got this tool that you saw how I was running it up underneath the seal. That's non-lubricated. Once you get that lubricated, it'll be even better. It'll be a couple of us, but we'll be able to get in here, start pushing this glass out, and hopefully, everything will go good. This seal is hard as a stick. If I get into it and we find that it's too much, I'm just going to take a knife and we're going to cut the seal and we'll get a new seal to put the glass in. We'll know that once we start removing the window. So we should be doing that pretty soon. So that'll do it for this one, making a handy dandy. And you know, the thing about this is you can use this for so many other things as well. I've got so many little tools in my toolbox. A couple hours worth of work. It wouldn't even been that long if I hadn't screwed up, but it's a handy dandy little tool I'll be able to use for a lot of other things as well. That's going to do it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Rock!
Thank you.